Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard tactics video. It's also going to be a bit of an after action battle report as well. So I've been looking into Scions recently because I've played sort of 15 or so games with my Guard now, probably more. I've actually lost track, and I've started breaking into the Scions a little bit, and I've used them for 3 games now. And they are very, very interesting, I must say. They are very, very powerful. I was using, to give you an idea, to set the stage, I had a game last Tuesday. So that would be, the Tuesday the 11th. I had a game on Tuesday the 11th. And it was over very quickly. And basically what happened is, I'll tell you what my list was and then I'll say what happened. So my list was my Arbites list that I built up during 7th, which the whole point of the Arbites is you have sort of Space Marine Scouts and Speeders, which are like the police, they're the Arbites, and then backing those up are like the SWAT teams, which are the Scions with the special weapons. So you've got Scouts with shotguns backed up by Scions with special weapons, and it's quite cool, it's very fluffy. Now 7th edition, that list wasn't particularly powerful. When I used it in 8th edition, it was absolutely deadly. So the list that I used was roughly 3 squads of Space Marine Scouts in Landspeeder Storms with Astartes shotguns and power moles. And then I had a big squad of Scout Bikers with no upgrades, just bolt guns. Twin bolt guns and shotguns, what they come with. And then I had a Space Marine Captain, backing those guys up. And then on the Scion side, I had 3 trucks of Scions, each with 2 5-man squads in. They sort of had a mixture. That each truck had a 5-man double flamer squad. And then I think basically what special weapons I had left over. So like I had a 5-man grenade launcher squad and a 5-man volley gun squad and just a 5-man hotshot lasgun squad. And then dropping in, so that was like the riot police trucks. That was my armoured sort of ground forces. And then dropping in, because you've got to have some drops with Scions. You've got to have some drops. Dropping in from reserve, I had a big 10-man squad just with hotshot lasguns, a quad melter command squad, 2 quad plasma squads, and I think just 3 Tempestus primes. So by no means, guys, like a spammy list. You see some of these Scion lists that are going out on the internet, and it's like 8 Tempestus primes, 8 command squads, 8 Torx primes, and it's just like, what is going on? You know, that's just. So I had a fluffy Scions list. And the sort of reasoning behind it was, because I didn't know what I would be facing. The reasoning behind it was, the trucks and the speeders and the bikes will move forward fast, hit the enemy hard, get all over them. And if it turns out the enemy's going to be coming to me, I've got some flamers in the trucks that can jump out and help stem the sort of, if it's a horde, you know, stem the horde. That was basically it. And then my heavy weapons would drop down and eliminate hard targets. Now, what I ended up facing off against was Eldar. It's my second game against Eldar of 8th edition. I smashed my first game, absolutely destroyed my opponent in a couple of turns. And my second game, I'll tell you what I was facing. I was facing a list that back in 7th edition would have been tournament winning. It was 4 packs of bikes. Now, they were 5-man packs, and they had shuriken cannons rather than scatter lasers. I don't know why. Don't know what the changeover is for, but he said they were better, my opponent. An Autarch in the middle of them all, just buffing the shit out of them. A Wraith Lord, and 2 Wave Serpents with 20 Dire Avengers between them. I think it was 2 5-man squads and a 10-man squad, so he could fulfill his troop choices. Was it? It was something like that. It might have been. I think it was 3. I think there were 20 scatter bikes, but they were split into 3 squads. I think he just had a battalion. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. And I think he had like maybe two autarch. I don't know, for example. I don't know the exact list, but that was roughly it. So a list that normally would have absolutely, scatterbikes, wave serpents, a list that would have done very well. He went first and did some damage to my bikes and blew up a speeder and retarded one of my Tauroxes. Had 2 wounds left. So I thought, okay, that's quite a decent amount of firepower. In my turn 1, I almost tabled him and he conceded. He took 1 turn of firepower. The game was over in 30 minutes. Maybe an hour, including setup time, an hour. At setup time, and bullshitting and chatting, an hour. Basically what happened is his scatter bikes blasted forward so they could, I should call them shredder bikes now. His shredder bikes blasted forward so they could, get into shredder range of me. And did a reasonable amount of damage. He was probably a little bit he was a little bit unlucky, but not too bad. Nothing to write home about. Average luck really. He was getting a lot of rerolls with his autarch. And in retaliation, I blasted forward. I just killed everything. Absolutely, the squads inside the vehicles didn't even, the Scion squads didn't even get out. Basically what happened is my remaining 2 speeders and bikes dropped in, drove towards one bike squad and annihilated it. Because you've got the scouts inside, you've got the speeders themselves. And the speeders can go really fast. And the scouts, because they've got shotguns and assault weapons, don't suffer a penalty for the speeder going really fast anymore. And same for the bikes. The bike's going sick. Everything's in his face. And then the Torx primes come in. And between those guys, they delete the other 2 squads. One plasma command squad deletes the Wraith Lord on its own. Blow up one of the fucking wave serpents and destroy half his Dire Avengers in 1 turn. He had a wave serpent and 10 Dire Avengers. Oh, he had a couple of flyers as well. I should have said he had a couple of flyers flying around as well. A couple of Hemlock fighters. For those of you thinking he was a bit under points, he had 2 Hemlock Wraith fighters as well. So I didn't touch the Hemlocks, but I just deleted his ground presence. Completely deleted it. In 1 turn. So that's not me boasting about my super tactical awesome capabilities. I mean, I brought not an optimal list for Scions and absolutely just demolished my opponent. I think Scions are really, really powerful. From the 3 games that I've had, I haven't lost with a single one of them. They've all been over by turn 2 or 3. I have to say, guys, Scions are overpowered. There's no way around it. The ability to pinpoint deep strike, 2 squads with plasma, a command squad, a normal squad, and then a commander. Deep strike all that in rapid fire range, re-rolling 1s to hit, overcharging. That I wasn't even doing that. I was just using command squads and melter squads, and Jesus. So that's sort of the first thing. So Scions are really powerful. Really, really powerful. Probably a bit overpowered. What I want to say is, what loadouts did I find worked well for me? That's sort of the second thing. Because, it's a good little after-action battle port. We're doing like a 2-for-1 here. So that was the battle port. I've never been able to fucking kill someone in 1 turn of firepower before. Well, I was able to do it now. But what loadouts did I find worked? And what loadouts did I find didn't work? Well, I found straight away, I'm saying this, Plasma is superior to Melter for Scions. Okay? Straight out of the ballpark. I would say probably Plasma is going to be superior to Melter in nearly every situation. Apart from maybe 1 or 2. But Plasma is the clear winner on your Scions. You want to be taking Plasma command squads, Plasma pistols, Plasma Scion squads. If you want to have the most powerful army, that's what you want to go for. Now, bear in mind there will be a codex which will probably nerf them, which is why I'm holding off on just buying 1 million Plasma Scions. But Scions are really good, and I found Plasma the number 1 loadout, guys. The number 1. We'll go in descending order. The number 1 loadout for your command squads is quad Plasma, and for your regular squads it's double Plasma and a Plasma pistol. You combine those two together with a Tempestus Prime, you deep strike all that in. I doubt anything bar like a Knight or a Super Heavy will be able to withstand that level of power. Don't forget to give you Tempestus the Rodder command. Next most powerful one, I would actually, now this is going to surprise a lot of people. For points, for bang for buck points, I would actually say it's the 10-man Lasgun squad, Hotshot Lasgun squad. I found that to be super effective. When I dropped it down, I gave them first rank fire, second rank fire. Now I wasn't in rapid fire range, but that's still what, about 20 shots, 20 Hotshot Lasgun shots, and I just deleted a 10-man Dire Avenger squad. They just died. They lost like 8, and then like 2. The rest just ran away to Battle Shock. I think that one will be very, very versatile, and it's very, very cheap. It's only 100 points, and you smack that in a torque. You can either deep strike that down, and it's good, or you can put it in a Torque's Prime. Now, if you put it in a Torque's Prime, the advantage of putting it in the Torque's Prime is you're not going to get to shoot them turn 1, but turn 2, you'll probably be able to disembark them, move them, and then rapid fire someone, and then you'll get 40 shots if you first rank fire, second rank fire with them. So I'd actually, people probably thought I was going to say Melter, but no. I think for bang for buck, 10-man Hotshot Lasgun squad is very, very powerful now, guys, because that AP2. You can threaten a lot of targets when you're AP -2. Ideally, you don't really want to be sending it against like tanks and stuff, but you can do. And what you've got to ask yourself is 40 Hotshot Lasgun shots, which are going to be hitting on 3s and wounding on 6s. That can do a lot of damage. We're talking what, like about 30 hits and about 10 wounds or 5 wounds. Opponents are only going to save like 1 or 2 of them. Let's say 1. You know, that's like 4 wounds you can do with your Tempestus against a target they're not really good at killing. You know, you can do 3 to 4 wounds to a vehicle with your basic infantry squad. That's powerful. Or you can, you know, if that's a Space Marine squad, what did we say? It was like 30 hits. In Space squad, that's going to be like 10 wounds. They're only going to save 3 of them, tops. You just gutted a Space Marine squad. That's 7 Space Marines gone. They're probably going to lose the rest of Battle Shock. In fact, they're almost guaranteed to lose the rest of Battle Shock. Almost. They've got a reroll. You know, so really powerful and cheap and versatile. It can be put in a truck or it can be deep struck down. I tend to find with the plasma squads, their job is plasma suicide. If someone told me, do you want to put a plasma squad in a Taurox or do you want to put a plasma squad in deep strike, it's always going to go in deep strike. That's the difference. Now underneath that, I was going to put, now the third optimal loadout, it's kind of a tie, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's Hotshot Volley Gun squads. Okay? Hotshot Volley Gun squads, because again, it comes down to how versatile they are. In you know, Hotshot Volley Gun squads are pretty happy either being deep struck down or jumping out of a vehicle. Now, obviously, the problem with the Hotshot Volley Gun is it's like, you know, you're hitting, when you move with it, you're only hitting on 4s. But the thing is, if you've got a command squad, one of those, that's 16 shots. And because they've got a 24-inch range, there's going to be quite a lot of scenarios where you're not going to need to jump out of the Torque's Prime. You're just going to be able to deploy on the battlefield in some cover. That's what you've got to remember. I can see quite a viable sort of defense. Because Scions in some situations are going to have to play defensive. For example, if you're playing against an Orc Green Tide, you don't really want to be like dropping in all your Scions, because what's going to happen is you're going to drop in, do quite a bit of damage, but the remaining sort of 40 Orcs, if it's like 100 of them, the remaining 50 or 40 or 50 Orcs are going to murderize everything you drop in. Against Green Tide, you want to have about 2 turns of firepower and then you want to be counter-attacking them. So I can see quite an effective anti-green horde fire base being 2 10-man squads, 2 command squads, 2 Torx Primes and 2 Tempestas, all sitting in some cover. Maybe even by a fucking Aegis defense line. And you put all those things in cover, and the orcs are going to charge towards you. Obviously some of them are going to dad jump at you, which is, but you've got to be prepared for that. And you can just lay down 1, 2, 6, 12 hotshot volley guns. Oh look, Dakar Primes have got 2 more each as well. So that's another 4. 16 hotshot volley guns. That's a lot of hotshot volley guns. But on the save, so that's on the defensive, which is always something to be aware of. On the attack, due to the number of shots they get, which is 4, they're actually alright on the offensive. Yeah, you're only going to hit with 2 of them, but, that's almost guaranteed a wound a turn. I can tell you now, when I was using 2 hotshot volley guns on my Dakar Primes, very powerful. They were consistently putting down 2 wounds on enemy vehicles. Underneath that, I would put the melter gun. Now, a lot of you are going to be sort of shaking your head at me, and please, feel free to disagree with me. But the reason why I'm not so hot on the melter gun anymore is the fact that you can't effectively get it into range anymore. If you deep strike it in, you only get the one shot anyway. And I'm not a huge fan of one-hit wonders in 8th edition. They're all right, but I prefer plasma guns because they have high strength, high damage, high shot output. Melter guns have the same strength. They have 1 extra AP, and I can tell you now, guys, I haven't really noticed the difference between AP -3 and AP -4. I'm sure it will exist if I come across Terminators, but even then it's not, because I'll still get 5+ save against the fucking melter because they've all got an invuln save, and if they're not using storm shields. So yeah, the problem with melter is positioning. I can deep strike it in, but then I'm not in effective melter range. I can put it in a Torx Prime and charge it forward, but there's a good chance I'm still not going to be in melter range. Because what you got to remember, guys, is melter range is 6 inches. That is very hard to achieve, to get into melter range against an opponent who knows you've got melter guns, because they only have to do a small move backwards. Most vehicles, it doesn't, a lot of the faster vehicles, they don't even care if they move. Dark Elder, the hard targets you want to be using against, like Land Raiders, they don't care if they move. So I really don't see how melter guns are going to be really good this edition. I still think they're powerful. Don't get me wrong. Don't be there thinking to yourselves, fuck, I built loads of melter gun Scions based on Mordian Glory's videos from 7th edition, and now they're all a waste of time. No, they're still really good, and if I'm going to be honest, they're probably joint third with volley gun squads. They're just nowhere near as good as they used to be, and plasma can do their job almost as well, and they're more expensive. So it's kind of like, why would I take them? I'd rather have a guaranteed 2 damage per shot than a maybe. That means I've only got a 66% chance of doing more damage with a melter gun than I do with a plasma gun. Yeah, no thanks. And I've got a 13% chance of doing less damage than a plasma gun. Yeah. So that's why you can see why I'm gone a bit cold on my melters. I've still got 6 of them in my Scion army. I'm still going to use them every game, because there's going to be situations when you want some melter, but I'm going to want more plasma. I'm always going to want more plasma now. The last 2 that sort of come down to, the one after this, after melter guns, the 5th best option is the grenade launcher. Still not a fan of the grenade launcher, guys. I mean, it's okay now that it's, strength 6 is quite good, AP -1 is quite good, D3 wounds is quite good. The reason it's so far down on the list is because it's 5 points, and for 2 points more you can get a plasma gun. Now obviously plasma's better than everything. Yeah, plasma's better than everything. But grenade launchers for Scions aren't really worth it, because plasma guns are definitely worth it. Grenade launchers don't really... I've always said this about grenade launchers. Not a big fan of them. But the reason why they're not at the bottom of the pile, and why Flamers are at the bottom of the pile, is because you could still deep strike them down if you've got them on your squads. They've still got a good effective range, and thanks to AP -1, now they still help complement with the Scions Hotshot Lasguns. Before, the reason I hated them was because they'd never complemented the Scions Hotshot Lasguns. But now with AP -1, they can do alright. You know, you get a couple of crack grenades in there, you're gonna, let's say you hit with both, probably going to wound with at least one of them. You've got a 50-50 chance of killing a Space Marine with a 5-point upgrade, with, you know, two 5-point upgrades. That's not too bad, and if they do that over 2 turns, so they kill a Space Marine, they've got the points back. So there you go. Last one to mention, going to be a quick one, Flamers. I think we all know why I'm not a big fan of Flamers with Scions. It's simply because you can't get them into range. You cannot deep strike them into range. And I have 3 double Flamer Scion squads. I've got 3 of them. And I have yet, with the 3 games that I've had with them, I've yet to get a shot off with them. Yet these guns are costing me as much as plasma guns. Yeah. Really, really not sure if Flamers are any good for Scions. I mean, what I've started running them in, as I said earlier, is in Torx Primes with another like 5-man squad to back them up. Because what my plan is, you know, in theory you can have like 2 5-man squads in a Torx Prime, 1 melter gun, 1 flamer, and what you do is you know they complement each other. The melter guns can kill the big things if they get close. They're defensive. They defend the Torx Prime. So if something big gets close to Torx Prime, you pop out the melter guns and you zap them. If a horde pops in the Torx Prime, you can get a couple of flames in there. That's how I have been using them. But like I said, I've yet to fire a shot with them yet. You can't deep strike them in. Being forced to use them defensively sucks, because it means there's you know a good chance you're never going to use them in a game. And yeah, that's it basically. Not going to labour the point. Yeah, I just can't see any real purpose. The only thing I can really see them as having a purpose is like maybe a distraction. So you deep strike them in alongside like some plasma, and either your opponent, you know, against like some, or yeah, with some plasma, and your opponent's like, well, I either shoot the plasmas this turn, but then next the flames are going to be in range. But really, it's like, oh, 2 flamers in range, woo! You know, it's just Scions can't use flamers offensively anymore. Scions can only use them defensively, and 99.9% of the time, in most scenarios, unless you're facing something like Green Tide, unless you're facing something like Tyrannid Swarm, 99% of the time, you're going to be on the attack as Scions. That's how Scions survive. When you're playing Scions in 8th edition, you take the momentum and you run with it, and you don't let go of it. Because I've noticed with Scions, the moment that a flank starts losing momentum, they get torn to pieces. Absolutely torn to pieces. First game that I use them, against Blood Angels. You guys know I play a lot of Blood Angels, which are basically just facing normal Marines now. But first game, they rolled up a flank. They took out 2 Assault Marine squads, a couple of a Rhino, a Razorback. They were doing really well with 3 Torx Primes and 3 squads of guys just like blasting forward, doing damage. And then the opponent, just all he turned on me was a fucking Baal, a Razorback, and 2 tactical squads. That's all he turned on me. Only 6-man tactical squads either. Not a lot. He wiped out my Scions, and my Torch Primes were badly damaged. So that's what I'm saying, guys. Number one thing you want to take away from this video, you know, Scions are really powerful. Plasma is the best, followed up by just max squads with lasguns. But the number one rule that I've learned from Scions so far is you've got to maintain the momentum. Everyone's saying they're super powerful. They are super powerful because they're able to hit hard, precisely, and do a horrendous level of damage, which gives them the momentum. But if your opponent is able to survive your initial alpha strike, you will crumble fast. Very fast. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please tell me what Scion experience you guys have had so far. Am I jumping to conclusions saying they're overpowered, or are they actually really, really broken overpowered? Please leave a comment. And as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.